What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hard Proof. We got a good one today. I'm pumped about today's. Why the hell is it so blurry in here?
You tell me. Jason looks a little different today too.
Jason does look different.
Jason looks much different.
A lot taller, a lot leaner. And
not the JD we know and love, but
they both got beards though. So
Hope I can hold down the fort.
Hey, I'm pumped because we got our good friend Luke Rodgers here today, and from Blurry Creatures.
Blurry Creatures Podcast.
Man, dude, I'm a huge fan. So, for those out there that may not know what Blurry Creatures is, will you just give them a synopsis of what you guys
who
you are and what you do?
So we are about 230-ish odd episodes in right now. It originally started out as a Bigfoot podcast, of all things. It was 2020. Of course, which is a weird year, right? And I had a podcast previous with my brother Jordan where we did a variety show, which of course is not evergreen, and you got to keep up every week. Yep. And it was like it was a lot of fun, but we ended up killing that. And in 2020, I'd written this I don't do New Year's resolutions anymore. It feels like a failure every time you fail.
Yeah,
100%.
So I just start writing down goals now. So I write down the goals, and one was to do a podcast again. It had been 2 years, and then a buddy of mine, I was tweeting on Twitter. This is when it was still Twitter. This is pre Elon,
formerly known as Twitter.
We still call it Twitter.
I was tweeting something about Bigfoot, and a friend of mine, about 20 years, maybe more an acquaintance, Nate Henry, was like, "Hey, you want to do a Bigfoot podcast?" And I was like, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So we just started this podcast. We thought no one would listen. No one really did in the beginning, about Bigfoot. And the reason it started there was that my buddy Nate, co-host of the show, he was flipping houses. He was in a band for 15 years, a band called Sherwood. He toured all over,
I know Sherwood.
Played a bunch of different venues, played overseas. But he was done doing the band thing and was flipping houses and said didn't want to listen to politics or sports. So he listened to Bigfoot podcasts. And in the middle of that, they started bringing on...
That's a big leap.
It is a big leap.
He said
like,
it felt
I don't want to do
safe.
sports or politics. How about Bigfoot?
Well, he said it was safe, and it wasn't like... It didn't make you angry when you're tearing drywall.
That's true.
The bigger leap, though, is it started there, but then it gets into stuff like the Nephilim.
Right. So
which personally, I'll tell you, I really appreciate it because it's really helped me with my own genealogy, trying to trace back to my ancestors, and it's
Says
really...
the guy wearing a T-shirt that has Jesus shooting a jump shot.
I mean, it is what it is. Just telling my truth here.
But Nate's point was that at some point in this Bigfoot journey, they start bringing theologians on the show, and he's like, "What's happening here?" And so we started with that, and then as Miles was saying, we got into we started getting into ancient giants, and what it is essentially taking a look at all the weird and fringe stuff, not only in the Bible but things people are experiencing these days. So, 2023 was a wild year. We had House oversight committees in Congress talking about UAPs, UFOs.
Sorry, they don't call them UFOs anymore.
No, they got to rename it so it's not. It's
you got
not,
the aliens in Mexican Congress.
Yeah, you've got that. You've got the face peelers down in Peru, which are taking people's faces off.
Yeah.
It's super weird. Anyway, how do we ask better questions and get better answers to the weird topics in our world and in the Bible through really a Christian biblical paradigm? So we filtered all through that. We talked to everybody about everything from the Nephilim, giants, Bigfoot, cryptids, as you said, to things like Genesis 6, which of course is the Nephilim, to things like the Federal Reserve and the pyramids, ancient history. Kind of get into all the different zones, and with the creatures zone, we can broad brush it. We can talk about all kinds of stuff. So it's been a very fun journey. It's really turned into something we never expected. And there's an amazing community of folks that have come around it, and it's been really fun, man. It's something I like to do anyway. I always say that I sit around a fire and smoke a cigar, have a glass of bourbon, and these are kind of the weird things we talk about anyway. So I got to do it for a job now.
I've got one question though. I'd love to know your perspective, especially being one of the leaders on Blurry Creatures. Is there's always this saying growing up that there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Through all the episodes you've done, have you guys what's the general sentiment? Do you feel like, you pick up ancient civilizations and read it in history books, and there's all this crazy stuff.
Right.
The Aztecs, the Incas, all these crazy things that went on, the Lost Colony in Virginia.
Right.
All these weird things. But
Atlantis.
do you think that history repeats itself? Do you
Atlantis.
think there's stuff going on that the common man just doesn't really see,
No,
but it's there?
Absolutely. I think when you talk about the weird stuff in history, mythology, Greek mythology especially, Genesis 6 is pretty specific. You have this angelic rebellion, and they take wives, and then you have the giants. And it also says all flesh was corrupted. And this is the days of Noah. When you start to look at what's happening in what's called the Golden Age in the days of Noah, you realize this is why the flood was sent. It was to wipe these abominations, these creations of the darkness off the map. But Jesus says in the New Testament in the end of days, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, will be like the days of Noah. So you have this sort of circle, this recurring circle. Everything's going to come back around. And there's some thought processes around, I'm not saying for sure, but like the fact that we have such an uptick in people having experiences with whether it be UFOs or creatures, I think is somewhat a telltale sign that we are coming back around to what we consider to be the days of Noah and the things that were running around then. Now, you can also say that everybody has a cell phone and a camera in their pocket.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So when the days of Roswell,
Lord knows they do.
In the days of Roswell, when the Roswell crash, which is a weather balloon, you had a newspaper. And that was it. And this newspaper would tell you what's happening. And then they changed their story 3 days later. You didn't have cell phones and Twitter and Facebook and all these people would be able to put things up right away. So we're more interconnected than ever. So perhaps that's also why we're getting these reports. But I do think, based upon the times that we are seeing a lot of crazy stuff, and I think it's going to get crazier. I mean, we could get in a lot of rabbit holes. That's not what the show's about. But
I do want to go down one rabbit hole, though.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of the show. So I've almost listened to all. Now, my brother-in-law is an even bigger fan than I am, and he is a completionist. And self-admittedly, he's gone back and listened to every single one of them. But I've listened to enough to know that you guys start off every episode asking your guest, what do you think about Bigfoot?
That's right.
I've never heard you answer that question.
Sometimes they try to flip it on us, and we do.
But I haven't heard you answer it.
It's been a journey, man. So we always say our podcast is a journey podcast. So if you're going to listen, start at the beginning, because we are on the same ride. Like we interview academics and content creators, filmmakers, authors. We look for people that have put the 10,000 hours into their specific topic, and we bring them on to interview them. So it's not just Nate and I shooting the breeze about what our thoughts, which is also interesting because people then take whatever our guests say as our opinion, right? Like it's our eschatology, or it's our it's our interpretation of scripture, or it's our beliefs. But I started at the beginning to have an interest in Bigfoot just from like finding Bigfoot. Of course, the irony, they never find Bigfoot and finding Bigfoot, but it was a very big show. What you have is a creature that leaves footprints and hair and DNA, but they have never pulled a body out of the woods. So you have this really interesting scenario. And then you have all these folks that sit in a camp that say, this is a giant remnant ape, Gigantopithecus, and it's just real elusive. And you have this whole other camp that says, there's all this, what they call the woo. There's all this weird stuff that happens around Bigfoot, like UFOs, orbs, Bigfoot disappearing. So you have all these anecdotal stories on both sides because we don't have a body. But I think that it's compelling enough on the weird side. Dr. Michael Heiser, who's been on our show a couple times, he passed away last year. He was a great friend of ours, wrote Unseen Realm, really foundational bedrock for understanding the supernatural aspects of our world and really where our show lives. Says famously, and we bring this up in the show all the time, that if just one of those stories is true, there are thousands of Bigfoot encounters every year. They track these. The BFRO tracks these. There are thousands. If one is true, then it breaks the paradigm, and you have to reconsider your worldview to incorporate this. And so I'm more in there's got to be a reason we're not pulling a body out of the woods. Not because there's not a lot. A lot of people have encounters. Mm-hmm. I think there's something very weird to it. Perhaps in the vein of like a what we consider to be like a chimera, where it has maybe some interdimensionality to it. Where
that's the favorite story of mine.
And honestly,
I think we're to the point though. We might need a little bourbon to continue to sustain this level of conversation.
Skinwalker Ranch, bro. So the ranchers that had Skinwalker Ranch, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. They were not aerospace guys. They were not the guys, the Mormons that have it now, that are looking for the weird stuff. They just bought to run cattle, and they have a story of this window opening above the ranch and a Sasquatch, Bigfoot type thing climbing out of it. And these are just like hardened cowboys. These are not.
You sure it wasn't Ben's mother-in-law?
I'm not. I can't neither deny or confirm that, Miles. So
given that I'm not married, they very well could.
Is she a cowboy? Is that
future mother-in-law?
Future mother-in-law. My cryptid mother-in-law.
Maybe.
If we talk about space-time,
lives on a diet of a lot of beef every week.
I'm just trying to picture what all of our viewers are doing right now. They're like, "What? Where the hell did this show go?"
No, right, 100%. Let's get to bourbon. I'm a big bourbon guy. Okay, so we know this because we know each other. But
correct. Yeah.
If I wasn't doing what I'm doing, sort of accidentally, what I'm doing now, I would love to be doing something along the lines of this because I really love the art form. I moved from California to Tennessee in 2013. So I consider myself a Tennessean now.
Okay, yeah,
and I moved from Northern California. I have to always qualify it. It's different.
You got a decade.
Half of my graduating class in high school, their parents were ranchers and farmers. So this is more where I came from. But I came out here knowing nothing about bourbon, and the guys I lived with, 2 good buddies, were majorly into it in 13, and so they're like, if you're going to live here, you got to be into bourbon, and so that kind of baptized me into it. And
there you go.
And at that point, you can still get a lot of great things at the store in 2013. So
I think we just came up with another T-shirt idea: baptized by bourbon.
Ooh,
yeah, I love it.
It's that brown water, baby.
Brown water. Baptized in the brown water.
All right, so look, here's what we're doing today. We don't usually do it this blind, but we're gonna go blurry on you today.
Extra blurry.
Extra blurry.
In black Glencairn glasses, so you can't see. We're not even gonna really let you smell until it's right at the time.
Until it's time, yeah.
But
I think first we should maybe jump over and turn the tables on our guest.
That's true. Let's do that.
Typically, we pick all the pours that we're blinding, or I pick them, or John and blind the rest of the table. But given that we have a large, extensive bar and knew you liked bourbon, we figured for the third choice today, we would let our cameraman over here follow you, and you can walk right on over to the bar. There's some glasses laid out.
You're going to pick the third one.
You're going to pick the third blind.
I'm going to walk into the...
Yeah, you're going to make it blurry for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like this. I like what you guys are doing here. So I'm pouring these, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do this. That's enough, yeah?
All right, we're back. Our very special blurry guest just brought us a blind pour in a less than blurry glass, but
Yeah, I think we ran out of blurry glasses.
We did run out of blurry glasses.
Okay. So you just want to go like A, B, C?
Yeah, I think we got a handful of questions to ask along. I know I have a couple questions
Well,
I'm interested in.
I picked A and B.
Oh, that's new.
That is new. And just for reference, for our audience sake, I'll let them in on the secret. All right, so I've been tasked with picking out the first 2. So let's see. What I want to do is give one that's just like total crap, and then one that's decent. So total crap. Total crap. Yep, I think that's the one we might go with. So we're gonna do pour B, is Lusty Claw, and then I want to go pour A. So we're gonna go with this one, Thicket. It's actually a Old Elk. Is it? Yeah, it's actually an Old Elk blend that a buddy of ours did. But it ties into Luke in the guest we have today and what he does. So I think this will be great. So A, Thicket, Old Elk blend, and B, the Lusty Claw. All right. Now that the viewers know what these A and B are, and I know what they are, you guys got to figure out what they are. So let's do A first.
All right, let's do it.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
On the nose.
That's a rye.
By the way,
Ooh, you came out swinging.
I came out swinging. That's a rye.
a byproduct of the glasses being black is you don't have no idea how much you're pouring in there.
Right.
So don't feel like you have to drink the whole thing.
Why not?
I mean, you can if you want.
I'm here for
Yeah, we're
it.
filming on a Friday.
It's a safe place.
I ate lunch. I can drink as much as I want.
There you go.
That's how that works. All right, Luke, I have a question.
Yeah.
It's about a cryptid you may or may have not talked about on your show, but
Okay.
I'm curious, especially because I would love to know if you have spoken about this cryptid before, what the biblical lens would be on it,
Yeah.
because it's a bizarre one.
All right.
Do you know much about Jeff the Talking Mongoose?
No, I don't actually.
So
Is it?
We apologize.
Share. Please
for
share.
our-
Please,
Yeah.
please share. We had a talking cat episode on our.
really,
Yeah.
they might cross paths a
Oh,
little bit then.
the cat didn't come on the show, but we had a story about a talking cat.
Oh,
That's what I was
No,
about to
that'd been
ask
really-
because
yeah,
I missed that episode.
Cat's name was Pickles, but Pickles did not make an appearance on Blurry Creatures.
maybe one day.
Who
I
knows?
would have said cat on the show or it didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, apparently it happened. Yeah.
so Jeff, though, in the 1930s, do you know the Isle of Man?
Yeah.
It's where the big bike race is.
Uh-huh.
Back in the 1930s, there is a cryptid story. It made a bunch of newspapers around town, and there's a specific family associated with it. GEF, the talking mongoose, was a friendly mongoose to the Isle of Man, specifically like this one neighborhood in it. And it wasn't like a Mothman or like Chupacabra where it ran rampant and stirred up a muck. It was just a friendly talking mongoose. That
He was a barista at the coffee shop on the corner there.
Nothing like a good friendly cryptid that's just like, hey, he's just a mongoose. He shows up and he says funny little things.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't the Isle of Man
serves coffee.
Don't they only speak Gaelic out there too? It's like it's a fully. I think the Isle of Man is like.
Do they all have to be evil and bad and weird? And
dude, listen. I mean, that's the weird thing about Bigfoot. There's enough Bigfoot stories about him being
benevolent,
yeah, like saving
helping
kids, and then
Isn't there like romancing Bigfoot too?
There's a movie right now about that. But,
No way.
Yeah,
It's getting a little kinky.
It's getting weird.
That's
No,
weird.
That's getting weird.
no, but if you get into some of the other
Can you
things,
imagine
like
a Hallmark movie though about Bigfoot?
I can actually.
Yeah.
I'd watch that one.
What holiday would it be tied
Follows
to?
the same like plot line as
that's-
every other one.
Oh, it'd be
It's just
amazing.
Bigfoot. Yeah.
That's a Valentine's Day
I feel
show.
like he was a very
It's a Valentine's
That's
Day.
Valentine's Day.
he was an elusive guy that just headed home
Yeah.
from the big city.
Or flannel had a
Right.
Christmas tree farm.
Bigfoot, big heart.
Left his
Bigfoot, bigger heart.
Left his big city marketing job to
just
come
wasn't
home.
fulfilled.
Bigfoot.
Open a dog
bigger
bakery.
Heart.
Yeah.
That's the name of it. Actually.
Bigfoot, bigger
I mean-
heart.
Produced by Blurry Productions.
You know, she just couldn't nail him down. He was very very elusive. Yeah.
And she got a job in New York.
Then she worked at the dog bakery with him,
Yes.
and they rekindled. But he was going to go back to the big city,
Yeah.
elusively,
I'm already a fan.
and then she convinced him to stay.
Yeah.
Right, and they
It's
built
like a sequel to the Teen Wolf movie.
right, they built Bigfoot nests out in the yes,
They have some-
in the woods.
They have some run-ins because he
Evil.
leaves some droppings in the living room every
Yeah,
now and
you know,
again.
droppings. Hey, yeah, it's not about like
Every
putting
once in a while
toilet
he-
seat down. It's the droppings.
Every once in a while, he's
Shit.
tearing trees and putting them back in the ground upside down. And it's like this guy just.
Wait, is that a Bigfoot thing?
He likes
flips over trees?
There's weird stuff like that where there'll be trees pulled out, ripped out of the ground, then put back in upside
You
down.
know what this is though? Just a quick time out. This is Blurry Creatures and Bourbon meet.
Right.
And we get these crazy stories.
Bro, this is like us hanging out on a Saturday night.
That's the beauty of
All we're
bourbon.
missing is a cigar, but dude, there are so many weird stories that you can't throw them all out. You got to consider some, especially when you have repeated themes throughout them. And so there's a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing I would say, Missing 411, if you're familiar with this at all, David Paulides was an ex-detective from San Jose, has a series of films. You can get them on Amazon. He talks about this very subset of missing people in the woods. People go missing in national parks all over the country at an alarming number every year.
Yeah.
But there's a subset that disappear with really no explanation, no evidence, no animal attack, no nothing. And some of these little kids will pop up. The ones I can remember, there's a little 4-year-old who showed up 17 miles from where he disappeared. And his story was that a bear took care of him and dropped him off to safety. I mean, he's not going to go 17 miles in 3 days as a 4-year-old.
Whoa.
But this is the story. It's a bear, and you go, "There's no bears out there. This is not Gentle Ben is out there taking care of this kid.
Yeah.
But something's happening. So do you
Paul
take
Bunyan
this
with
kid?
his blue ox, you know?
Well, there's that too. You know, making the Grand Canyon or whatever else he said he did. But,
Yeah.
I like that story. I'm in on the Paul Bunyan story.
I grew up on that story.
man, maple syrup. You know.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
but we're not drinking maple, so we're drinking bourbon. So
Are we drinking a bourbon or a rye?
Well, is that your question? You each get one question to try to figure this out.
Right.
I
Did
said
you,
right.
did you just shoot your shot?
No.
Okay.
I did.
Editor.
I shot my shot. I always come out hot.
That wasn't a question, though. That was just a statement. You get a question.
Okay. I think it's a rye. So, is it 100 proof?
Dang it. Stand by.
Let him pour blind once. Comes real prepared.
Gosh. Try to have nice things.
Let me ask you a question. When you blind these, how obscure can you get? Because, I mean, we're not talking about just like 5 or 6 brands, especially in the bourbon,
That's
in the
what makes
bourbon
it
rye
fun,
world. Yeah,
is you got thousands you could be pulling from.
right.
So it is not. It's over 100 proof.
Over 100
But
proof.
barely. That's why he sandbagged there. It's about probably 104, 105.
Okay. You get a question.
This is a question.
Trying to figure out what it is, so you get a question.
Ask what state. What state?
That's what I was about to ask. Is this Kentucky based?
It is.
There you go.
Kentucky-based, over 100 proof. Dang, y'all left me last. You're putting all the weight on me. I've got
Now-
the last
You're
one.
playing
now-
third base,
now,
like we're playing
hang on, hang
blackjack.
on.
You got
Hang
third
on.
baseman over here.
It is. Hang on.
Is it Indiana?
Let
Indiana?
him pour blind
Indiana
once.
distillate?
I bet it's Indiana distillate. I bet it's...
Yeah. So the distillate, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's Kentucky. Actually, no. I think it's actually MGP distillate, but it's not coming out. It's not produced there. It's distilled there, but it's not produced.
So it's produced in Kentucky.
Right. Okay.
No.
Not produced in Kentucky.
Produced
So you're
in
going back.
Indiana.
It's not Kentucky.
It's
not
not
Kentucky,
Kentucky
then.
based. Sorry,
Oh.
my bad.
You get your question back.
You get your question back.
That was the question.
I think you should
Where
get
it
two
was.
So it's
So
a
the
no.
questions.
answer is no.
So the answer is
yeah,
no.
you guys, I'll take 2 questions, but that seems unfair. That seems a little unfair.
So it's likely MGP juice distilled there, but produced somewhere else.
Correct. It does not on the bottle. It does not say it's distilled where it's from. So my guess is that it's contracted out of MGP.
It reminds me of maybe one of the red lines. I don't know if it is. I feel like it's a rye, but I feel like we drank through all our red line ryes. So I don't know if I would jump to that conclusion.
I'll give you this hint. It's not a rye.
Oh,
Wow, it's not.
that's a
It's
hot
got a
whiskey.
It's got a beautiful spice to it. Does everybody pick up on the spice?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
a blend.
And it's a
Blend, okay.
It's a hot blend.
Over 100
And
proof.
Over 100 proof. If I told you the proof, it'd give it away probably right away.
Oh,
Wow, these are some good hints.
I will say that
is it old? Does my granddad know something about
Good
it?
question.
It is old, but your granddad doesn't know anything about it.
Ah.
I thought it was fitting. Let's put it that way. I thought it was fitting for
Old
today's-
Crow.
No. For
Old
today's-
Crow's like 80 proof.
Oh, so
Isn't
you did something with the Blurry Creatures.
Let's just say it's of biblical proportions. Thought that might be fitting for the
Yeah.
Biblical
Huh.
proportions.
biblical tie-in with the Bigfoot and all that stuff.
thank you.
Yeah.
Is it the thicket?
It is the thicket.
Oh,
It's the
go.
thicket, yeah.
Wow,
At
way to go.
122.13 proof.
Yeah.
Thicket,
It
yeah.
is.
So Genesis 22:13.
It is thicket.
Now,
Which is
I
not
should have
a-
known that. I have a case at home.
I know. So I thought that would be fitting. Now, it's not actually an official bottle you can buy. So sorry. It's not something you can just go out and buy.
Blurry Creatures knows a lot about this.
I do actually know a lot about it.
Yes. So you want to tell the story? You're probably better at it than I am.
Sure, yeah. So we were actually talking before in pre-roll about Old Elk, and my buddies have friends at Old Elk, the ownership of the company, and actually my pastor and a couple of guys from my Bible study have done wines. They have a wine called 6 Jars, which they don't sell. The same thing. They found a winemaker in Napa, create a custom blend, and they did 6 jars because about the 6 jars of wine and Jesus' first miracle.
Yep.
So they decided they want to do a bourbon. We're all bourbon guys. So they started talking to the Richardsons out at Old Elk, and they said, we want to do a specific blend. So they went out to Old Elk, and I think it's maybe 3 barrels, or 2.5 or 3 barrels. It's proof to 122.13, which is Genesis 22:13. It's called Thicket because my pastor actually did a sermon about this, but the idea is Abraham and Isaac. So when Abraham is going to sacrifice Isaac and God stops it, tells him to do it for his obedience and stops it, there's a ram caught in the thicket, which is why it's called Thicket. And the idea behind that is that way before Abraham and Isaac showed up, God sent this ram ahead of time, knowing that this was going to happen and provided for it. So it's an homage to that story. To the proof is an homage to the verse, and the idea is that in our lives when we hit these rough spots and God asks us to trust Him, He's already sent rams ahead for us that are there in the thicket.
So
It's
good.
kind of like it's also not just a provision; it's a blessing. I mean,
Yes.
I've always said, I've smoked cigars I did not roll and drank bourbon that I did not cask.
That's right.
Yep.
And it's just you. That's part of the culture of enjoying something like this. That it's the person who put this in a cask and is probably not going to be alive one day to actually be the one to enjoy it.
And it's such an art. Like that's what I always loved about bourbon. It's an art. There are so many levers that you can move, and it changes the product. That it really, at the end of the day, you're bottling someone's artwork. One little element would change it completely, right? So it really is like someone painting this thing you can consume. And you can't buy this anywhere. That's the other thing, right? So there's a limited edition. It's
Sorry,
not
we
sellable.
hate to be those guys, but
I do have a case in my garage, but I have the least amount of any of my friends. So
no, you don't. We do.
yeah, of course, yeah. Well, I can always replenish that. I'm not going to drink through a case anytime soon. Amazing story. I love everything behind it, and some of our mutual friends are involved.
Well, and like all good bottles of bourbon, it's got a great story.
Yep.
So
exactly.
that's A.
Thicket,
I thought
baby.
I thought that
Hey,
would work.
it's a
Old
strong
Elk. It's
A.
Old Elk Distillate.
Old Elk.
Distillate.
Yeah.
Old Elk.
The
A
Old
Oh,
Elk.
so
provision
they
and
do
a
it.
blessing.
They distill it?
Mm-hmm.
Do they really? That's their stuff?
It's their stuff.
Okay, so I stand corrected. That is Colorado stuff.
Well, and
So that it's disqualified. He gave us the wrong answer. So
yeah, okay.
Oh,
we
my.
all win. That's a win. W for
Well,
You have to tell us what
I
the
thought
next
Old
one
Elk
is.
was sourcing stuff.
You just
so-
have to tell us now. Sorry, I
No.
don't make the rules.
No, we get to do B, but I'll give you a hint on B. It's not going to be fun.
Oh,
it
man.
smells. It doesn't smell too shabby.
Doesn't
Well,
smell-
maybe it'll change your minds.
Oh, well, it smells a little funny.
It's got some funk in it.
that is
Not fun.
That is rancid.
It's delicious, like drinking mud water. That's,
Delicious is one word for it.
Woo.
I
That
will
is
make you
rough.
guys.
Is that coming to fifth?
I think they're drinking
Is
that
this-
down on Music Row right now at the Honky Tonks.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
not cinnamon,
Oh
but it's
man, that's rough.
Is this Crown Royal?
No, it's not. It's not sweet enough for that.
Ugh.
That's a lot of
No,
bad
but I will
decisions.
say we always have the rule that the more elaborate the bottle is, probably the worse the stuff in the bottle
This is Derringer.
No, close though.
Oh
Lusty
wow,
Claw?
that's a great guess
Oh,
too.
it's Lusty Claw.
This is your lusty claw.
My God.
That might as well be a cryptid of a bottle. with how
Oh wow,
got
dude.
the eagle on it.
Yeah.
If you
Thought
drink
I'd-
enough of that, you would start seeing Bigfoot walking through the woods.
Thought I'd throw some crap in there, just throw everyone off a little bit.
I forgot how bad
That
it
is-
is.
I haven't even
horrible.
heard of that, but it is.
It's not good.
Always ask to try something in the store before you spend money on.
Remember what I said
a
about
good-looking
artwork?
bottle.
This guy this is not a good artist.
But those are out there.
Those are out there, man.
Goodness.
So
that guy.
if we're gonna compare whiskeys to artists, this is the Hunter Biden of the whiskey world.
Wow, you went
Is
there.
it that
Wow.
expensive?
Wow.
Is it that expensive
We
for
just
that
got
crap?
political.
I didn't get
it's-
political at all. I just think he sucks as an artist.
Oh,
Is he an artist?
okay.
Yeah, he does the whole paintings where he like
he sells them for millions
uses
of
the
dollars.
Straw and
Oh,
like, yeah, blows the paint.
I'm out
all
of the
over
loop.
yeah, no.
Hashtag President's Son. Hashtag 2024. Yeah. Yeah. It's full send
The
today.
Hunter
I like
Biden
it.
of.
On that note, let's do C.
See, yeah. Let's hope C's better. Oh, it smells better.
It does have a great note. Very good smell.
Being that we gave you free range, I hope you picked the most
Yeah,
expensive
you had the
thing you
whole
could find
bar
on the
to
shelf.
pick from.
Oh,
No, it's not that I know of, but
That's a low proof. I'll be honest. It doesn't. Well, maybe it's because what we just had is influencing it.
I mean, whatever you drink after that last one would be taste amazing. I think this is Pappy Van Winkle.
No, it's not. It's low proof. It's kind of very, very mild. I'm not picking up a lot.
Black and mild.
wood tip.
I actually smoked one of those the other night.
What? Hold on.
I'm not sure why. I was actually
Hold
sober
on.
too when
Why?
I
How'd that feel?
How old are you? I'm the one under 30
Did you
here.
have-
Hey, never forget where
If
you came
anyone's
from.
smoking black and milds, it should be me.
Did you ask somebody to
Never
buy
forget
those for
where
you?
you came
No, we were actually at a gathering of men doing bourbon and cigars, and this guy showed up with a whole pack of Black and Milds, and I was like, you know what? It's been a while.
I had to
I'll try one.
apologize to
How
everybody
was
there
it?
for
So,
him.
Not great.
Did he unironically show up with that, or was it a?
No, that was like his thing.
Oh, it's
Yeah, it
unfortunate,
was
man.
kind of embarrassing.
Sometimes you just can't teach people. People are unteachable.
Can't
Hey,
teach taste.
Never forget where you came from.
That's right.
Ooh. Low proof. I'd say this is like an 80 proof. Very low proof.
Yeah,
that
80,
your
85.
question?
That's I'm shooting for the hemp. I'm the
Okay.
lawman. I'm getting out there.
I think I have an immediate guess.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with Old Taylor.
Ooh.
No.
No.
Uh, I'm thinking the military special one.
Oh no, that stuff's
No,
crap.
there's no way
That
it's
stuff's
military.
really bad.
Well,
Like the,
I almost picked that one.
Oh,
yeah, I'm
darn.
telling you, I'm feeling it. I'm
military special has the like standard 750 bottle of like
And that's pretty good.
their whiskey. And that's pretty good, but their like plastic liter bottle is like it's a blended whiskey and it's horrible.
Okay.
What was your question?
What was your question?
Oh man, is it 80 proof?
Yes.
It is 80 proof.
I went straight for a guess, so I'm out.
I'm taking a guess.
Okay.
Is this JW Dant?
No, it is not.
Oh,
It is definitely
Miles-
not. No, J.
Lawman
Don't.
would have known.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's not.
I'd have picked
JW
something right in
Dant.
your wheelhouse, Miles. That would have been.
No, it's not JW Dant, but it's 80 proof. Is it in a? I'll take another one since somebody else is jumping for it. Is it in a plastic 1 liter?
It has to be.
Or a glass 1 liter.
It's in a glass.
Oh,
one
then
liter.
I know what it is.
Oh.
Ooh.
Go ahead, alley-oop. Alley-oop.
This is well now I'm spacing on it. I know where it's on. I know where it's at on the shelf on there. It's all the way to the left on the top middle shelf.
That's correct. Actually, that's where I got it from.
Yep.
Oh,
So
wow.
You're, you're
that
tracking.
would-
You're tracking,
that
baby.
would be the old Fitzgerald.
It is the old Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Well done, my
Way to
man.
go.
All right.
Jump
Shot Jesus with the alley-oop. With the alley-oop.
From downtown.
From downtown.
Dude,
I had to do a, like
That
a
is-
memory.
that's great. The jump shot. That is great.
Hey, I know it's your first time on the show, but we know what we're doing here. We're old professionals.
No, I didn't think you didn't, but I like it.
Hopefully, you're a little impressed.
I'm a little impressed. Yeah, I'd say I am.
Well, thanks for coming. It's been awesome.
That's it.
I don't got anything else. You got anything else, Benny?
I mean, I could talk about it. You want to talk about interdimensionality?
I mean, do your fans want me to talk about interdimensionality? I mean,
On that note, we'll see you guys next week.
No, but I'm
See ya.
interested in his thought. Because my theory overall with like things like Bigfoot, especially like Bigfoot and Mothman, is the idea that they're like an interdimensional creature that exists because the collective unconscious imagines they exist to the point where some form of spiritual energy has given them a life of their own.
Hey,
I apologize. He went to Belmont.
I think,
so
I think me and the Lawman can step out now, and you can just like school him on some theology.
Benny, this
here.
is a long conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
All right.
check it out in the notes. Maybe we'll throw some extra conversation.
Maybe
down
there's
there.
an extended edition that comes out. I don't know. Who knows?
Hey, check the
we
Blurry
can talk
Creatures
about
out
that.
though.
Yes. Hey, where can they find out about you guys?
yeah, we're on all platforms. Blurry Creatures Podcast. We got a website, blurrycreatures.com.
You got
all
events
the
coming up
socials.
every year too.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff coming up. We've got our conference that we haven't even announced yet, but the conference is going to happen this year in the fall.
Major announcement.
Major
here.
announcement right
Right
here.
here,
Yeah, it's the
breaking
first one to
news.
talk about it. It's going to happen in the fall.
I'm going to follow that up with a major announcement as well.
We've got a couple of things. We do have an event that hasn't been announced either. That's happening at Belmont
Oh,
in August.
Are they going to
with-
talk
Look at
about
that.
interdimensionality?
with a few other podcasts in our space, the Confessionals with Tony Merkel, Ninjas or Butterflies,
Just butterflies, yeah.
and Expanded Perspectives. So some good friends of ours. We're going to do a live event that will be announced in the next month or so. And then we're going to Costa Rica next year again in February for our international
Taking people,
conference.
like
yeah,
taking a trip
we
with
did this
people,
last
yeah,
year.
okay.
We're doing it again. So a lot of events, but. All our handles are Blurry Creatures on socials. You can find us there. Yeah, come check it out. We like to have a good time. It's 80s themed.
Yep.
We talk a lot of dark things, but we try to have fun with our guests and try to add some levity, but also try to be very specific and intentional about talking and framing things within a biblical worldview. Because I think the big travesty about the things that are happening these days, as we sort of exist in 2024 now, is people are experiencing weird things, but by and large, I feel like the church doesn't address them. And so you end up looking other places for answers. And so we're trying to be a place where we can ask better questions, get better answers to a lot of times unanswerable questions, but to frame things within a paradigm that makes sense within our faith. Because I think the worst thing that could happen is you could have an experience with Bigfoot or UFO or whatever and decide somehow that disqualifies your faith. And our contention is not at all. We live in a vast, vast universe that God created. And within that, there are realms, dimensions, and
It's a biblical bourbon worldview.
is.
That's kind of where I'm at. And I'm picking up everything.
I think
you're
that's the
laying
next
down.
podcast, Miles. Do you know
Biblical
what?
bourbon worldview.
We need to do a
We need to talk.
crossover.
My people
We
will
need to do a
call your
yeah, I
people.
think this is a good idea. Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Hey, how about we end with a little collaborative, maybe a pitch? Maybe make a pitch to this guy. I think there's something we might could like.
You want to do a barrel pick?
Yeah, we've talked about yes, of
Oh,
course.
I know. I'm just talking about like we
Hey,
haven't
what if
talked
we
about it.
what if we pulled one off for your live event later?
That'd
this
be great.
fall?
Hey, what
That'd
if
be
we did
amazing.
that?
We should do that.
We're gonna do a blurry barrel.
We're going to
We
go
should.
ahead and make that call right now.
It's
Executive
happening.
decision.
A blurry barrel.
It's happened.
So be on the lookout for that. Follow us at The Hard Proof on all the socials. Follow these guys, Blurry Creatures.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is
Yeah,
fun. I
absolutely.
love hanging out with
man.
you guys anyway, but to kind of do this is really cool.
Yeah.
One last question.
Oh no.
Oh God!
Any
Come on,
plans
Benny.
to host a Bigfoot hunt?
I know the places to go. I don't know that I want to go.
That's the answer I needed.
Yeah.
I'm all set.
Yeah, I know the places though. If you want, I can send you places that I think
No,
you can
I'm
have an
good.
encounter.
I'll stay.
We're
with
looking
it.
for a fourth talent to be on the end of this.
I'd like to continue to do my show, so I think I'm just going to
Yeah,
stay.
yeah,
I like to
that's
stay
fair.
out of the public lands and national parks for as much as I can, at least by myself, or at least looking for stuff. Yeah.
All right, like, subscribe, do all the things that the kids are doing these days.
Smash.
Yeah.
They dance on TikTok if you're
Yeah,
yeah.
that.
until
And,
until Congress bans it.
Yeah.
That's all right. You know?
And we'll see you next time.
All
Cheers.
right.
Next time.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.